Start recording. So yeah, welcome back everyone to our monthly webinar series. It's nice to be back after a couple months off, but it's taken a little bit of time to what all do I have to do to get ready for today? Because we haven't had a webinar in a couple months. So it's nice to be back. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Kim, and I'm the operations manager here at the MRFA. We will have a question and answer portion at the back. So please hold any questions till the back. If you want to type it into the chat, I'll jot it down and then ask. Our webinar will be recorded today and posted on our website for anybody who wants to watch it later. But let's get started. Today, we'll learn how to future-proof your restaurant with technology. And I'd like to welcome Libro and UEAT. Thank you for being here, and I will pass it off to you guys.
Thanks so much. I'll ask you, while we're about to begin, we have to also introduce our moderator for today, which is the esteemed Daniel Gurvich of Charcoal Collaborative, who will be keeping myself and RP in check during this, this event. So I'll leave it up to you, Daniel, to introduce yourself.
That's the plan. Thanks so much. Can everybody hear me okay? We're good?
We're good.
We're good. Great. So yeah, my name is Daniel Gurvich. Maybe a few people on this call are familiar with me, but I am the owner of Charcoal Collaborative, a marketing agency specifically focused on the hospitality industry. Happy to collaborate with Libro and UEAT. We've been introduced for a while now, and happy to start to spread the good word to the Manitoba market here about what they can do to help restaurant owners. So excited to be part of this discussion.
Awesome. I'll go next. Hi, everybody. My name is René Pierre, but my friends call me RP, originally from New Brunswick, and used to be a worldwide trainer for Apple. Now I'm working for UEAT, the UEAT University, where we help restaurant owners make the techno transformation easy and make it profitable. If you don't know UEAT, UEAT is the leading provider of self-ordering services for the restaurant industry. We are powering the online ordering platform of thousands of restaurants across Canada. So it is my honor and privilege to be a part of this discussion today.
Thanks, guys. My name is Stuart Lachowski. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Strategic Partnerships here at Libro, where we help elevate that guest experience. Now, very few of you guys know who I am. I did want to introduce myself to make it much more informal as an event today. I do live in Canada. I live in a small city called Montreal. If you guys don't know where Montreal is, most of you who know Montreal think this is what Montreal looks like, but really in about a month and a half, it's going to look like this. To be just very realistic about it. I was born July 1968, and that makes me 55 years old. I'm over 21. I'm over 18. I've been actually selling software for about 25 years now, and selling it into the software, into the hospitality and restaurant space for about 15 years now. I want to be very clear. I don't own a restaurant. I've had a few bars in my lifetime, but I really do enjoy eating, as I can attest to from the picture you see on your screen over here. It was taken a long time ago and a gastric bypass ago. I am the VP of Sales at Libro. We are a guest management solution that is much more than just fill tables. We have well over 3,000 locations across Canada using our software to manage their reservations. We have less than 2% churn. That means when people come join us, they like staying with Libro and when working with us. We actually are a 24/7 service. What does that mean? Well, we do an agile development process. So your customers, their tastes change. You need a piece of software that adapts to that. Anybody that becomes a Libro customer, actually, what they get to do is they get access to our 4 to 5 updates a year. And those updates are really feature-based, based on feedback we're getting from our partners like UEAT and Charcoal and and Kim's team, but also from what the customers are looking for. Because you guys are the feet in the street, and you guys know what your customers want. And one thing that's really interesting, when I joined Libro, I realized that we actually seat about 4 million diners per month. That means our customers, or those 3,000 customers that use Libro, have access to about 4 million emails, phone numbers, and names that they could leverage to communicate. And that's why we are the perfect solution for the small, independent, sub-location restaurant. As you see over here, most of our sweet spot are at that independent restaurant, but the same platform is able to support large organizations like Boston Pizza and St. Hubert. You'll see from the testimonials on the side, it's not just about software, but it's how we really care about our customers. So I'll just pass it over to Daniel. Agenda.
Great. Sounds great. Thanks so much for that, Stuart. Thanks for the introduction. So yeah, today a few of the topics that we're going to be covering, as you can see on the screen: labor shortage, customer data and expectations, increased customer engagement, and how technologies work together. So specifically talking about how Libro and UEAT can complement each other. So just let's get right into it, gentlemen. We're going to start with the idea of labor shortage. So, you know, just quite straightforward, we talk to restaurant owners every single day, and I think everybody can agree that staffing has been an issue. So what is kind of the current state from your perspective of the staffing challenges within the restaurant industry?
Well, you know, I'll take that one to start. You know, I'm probably preaching to the choir to everybody that's on this call today, right? You know, many owners and operators today are filling in where their staff shortages where staff shortages have increased. You know, they're not running the business now. It doesn't allow them to tend to the business. They're doing the other duties that they just can't find people to do. So the increased labor, you know, the labor costs, the higher prices have forced you guys, the operators, to increase your prices. And you know what? At the end of the day, the diner, your guest, expects better service, you know, larger portions than before because of these increases. And that becomes a big challenge for them.
Piggyback on that, if I may, real quick. Restaurants Canada just shared the statistics of this year, and they said that 84% of restaurants report lower profitability today versus 2019 pre-COVID, and over half of restaurants right now in Canada are on the brink of failure. And last year, when the Restaurants Canada show, we learned that there are 22% fewer staff in restaurants, but almost back to pre-pandemic foot traffic. In our neighbors down south, as you can see here, they're still down 600,000 jobs. And here in Canada, 171K available positions. This means, as Stu mentioned, longer wait times, and in restaurants can be the wait time to be seated, to order, to have your food cooked, ready, to receive your order, to pay, you name it. And at the same time, we're also dealing with high turnover. There's so many jobs available now that the turnover has never been higher. And the hiring rate means more training for you. Employees not always have the perfect skills, higher risk of errors. And we know that order inaccuracy is the #1 piece of dissatisfaction that we get from the end user calling. So it is, in fact, yes, it's still extremely challenging, but obviously there's hope.
Thanks for those answers, guys. It's true. You know, we see a lot of changes in the labor market just overall, and obviously specific to the restaurant industry. So trying to overcome those challenges, you know, there's many ways to approach it. So, you know, in your perspective, how can restaurateurs, you know, leverage technology to help? And when I say leverage, you know, I don't mean replace. I mean, how can they leverage technology to help with some of these labor challenges that we're seeing?
Well, I mean, you know, you know, historically, you know, diners would call in for, I'll take the side of from the reservation point of view, right? Historically, diners would call in for reservations. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, we don't have the resources to answer the phone anymore. You know, it's just not there anymore. So at the end of the day, it still happens that, you know, depending on the restaurant's demographic, people are still going to want to call in. You know, my mom is not going to go to a website or use a mobile application. She's still going to call in. But, you know, because of how we are today as a society, most people want to make a reservation easy and simple. They want to do it quickly, and they want to do it on the channel they're used to using. So if it's not the telephone, it may be on Google, maybe on your restaurant's Facebook page, it may be on your Instagram feed, or maybe calling in. And they don't want to leave a message. They want to get confirmation right away. So really, the importance in terms of the technology, it's all about integrations. It's making sure that your technology from a reservation point of view can work with Google, can work with your POS, can work with your HR operation tool, your web and mobile ordering solution, your kiosks, not just helping the front of the house, but also helping work the back of the house. So, you know, what actually technology does, it gives us an opportunity. It unlocks an opportunity in a time where labor shortages are killing us, rising costs are killing us, and it's very volatile to guest demand. You can adapt these technologies and maybe actually unlock potentially new opportunities and new markets.
Piggyback on that, I really did enjoy what Daniel said about it is not about technology replacing jobs. It's mostly about optimizing your current staff that you have currently in your restaurant. So Stu talked about the reservations. I'm going to talk about what's available for ordering. First of all, there's self-ordering kiosks. They are, in fact, making a comeback. In early 2020, people were less comfortable in touching a large screen display in your restaurant, but they're actually making a comeback. And these platforms, now you're able to rent them instead of paying upfront. You can rent them up. And these platforms are not replacing jobs, but in a way they're optimizing with the current staff, since they're always offering upsell. So the overall ticket size will be higher. It also helps you with relocating your staff to more customer-facing tasks. There's always the example that we shared about, maybe you have a restaurant that between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, it's not that busy. And during that time, instead of having one employee behind the counter, you could simply have one self-ordering kiosk and then one employee who's going to be managing the entire restaurant at that time. We have this preconceived idea that a self-ordering kiosk is only for rush hour. Obviously, it's going to help for rush hour, but you can also see it for the other way around when it's not that busy in your restaurant. And there's also this concept of, as soon as you start accepting online orders in your restaurant, we speak to restaurant owners every single day, and most of them share that they're kind of on the fence with online ordering because they're scared that they might lose control over the amount of online orders that they get, which is, by the way, it's great if you have a lot of orders, but if you have a short staff, as we mentioned before, it might not be that easy. Well, now the tools that are available to you, you can have now a capacity management tool. Capacity management says that for a specific day and time, I have this amount of staff, I can output this many orders, and as soon as that threshold is met, the order will automatically be pushed to the next hour. So guests won't have a bad experience. They already know what they're getting themselves into. So capacity management can help as well. And last but not least, there's also the table ordering. You know, with when COVID hit, we had these QR codes on the table that you could just scan to see your menu. This was already great, but we can take this to the next level. Why, instead of just showing the menu, now you can actually let your customers order and pay. And that order, as Stu mentioned, is linked to your other system as well. So customer can just be seated, they order, they pay, and when you're ready to leave, they don't need to wait for anybody. So holds many benefits to have technology in your hands.
Thanks so much, guys. You know, it's interesting to see how that integration theme really just comes up again and again on, you know, how we're integrating technologies and leveraging them on every side, and then making sure it's all about guest experience, right? So moving us into customer data and expectations, it's all great if you can have labor and have those systems set up, but without the customers on the back end to support it all, then what are we really doing here, right? So I guess my first question in that sense is, you know, how has technology played a role in, you know, how restaurants meet the requirements of the ever-changing needs and demands, I'll say, of customers as we go forward?
I can go for this one, Stu. For customers, so the end user, we have seen a huge shift from delivery. Like customers right now, they want to save as much money as possible. It is a given. Getting delivery during COVID was something that was required for many restaurants, but now the end user, the customers, are prioritizing takeout. So we've seen already at the Super Bowl a huge shift. But what's unfortunate is many restaurants are putting all their energy on marketing for delivery only. So we're not telling you to stop delivery, basically quite the opposite, in fact, but make sure that you do advertise both takeout and delivery, because you can advertise cheaper prices for takeout or even have a specific promotion, because now customers are more willing than ever to drive up to your restaurant and pick up their orders to save as much money as possible. And there's actually some good news here because customers, 7 out of 10 customers say that they want to order from you. They prefer to order from your own website because they want to make sure that their money stays in your pocket. They want the spotlight to be on you. So you should already consider that have your own dedicated platform is the name of the game, and takeout or takeaway is making a comeback.
I mean, I want the spotlight on me. So I think, technology is ever present in the guest journey to your restaurants, right, guys? From reviews and social media, driving them to your door, to experiences they have in your restaurant and the impression they have when they leave. So it's key for the restaurant to be able to create a seamless, frictionless experience, which is unique and pleasing to that customer. So that, that frictionless experience is key to utilizing things like reviews, social media, reservation software to customize and enhance the customer experience is key. So what we found is, just having a reservation system is just not enough. You need to have a reservation system that ties in customer engagement and reputation marketing, and have a single repository to actually, take that into place and be able to utilize these tools from a unique repository.
Thanks so much, guys. It's interesting when we talk about this and we're talking about technology playing a role in how we're interacting with our customers in restaurants. And I think it's, very apparent that customer expectations are changing. They're changing as we enter into, a new phase of our technological world of how we're interacting in general with each other. So, as those expectations are changing, we want to make sure we're not losing sight of our customers and how we're engaging with them, but really trying to, as we're talking about, leverage, that data. And it's, data sitting there with no reports being ran, with nobody to actually look over it. It's like a tree falling in the woods. So I guess, let's talk about how that customer expectation is changing and really the relationship between customers and the restaurants, how are we collecting data? How are we leveraging it? And how are we trying to increase that customer engagement going forward?
I think that's interesting. If you take a step back, I feel, a lot of my colleagues feel, is that the relationship with the guest and the restaurant starts with the reservation, right? So what ends up happening is, you go back years ago when people were looking, if you were traveling to, Winnipeg or Montreal or Quebec City or Kansas, how would people look for restaurants? Well, they would typically go to, maybe some food restaurant sites or stuff like that, or malls and stuff like that. Well, that's changed. The big Google is where people go. If you look today, food near me and restaurants near me are number 12 and number 17 on Google's most searched words, right? So that's where people find restaurants. That's where new customers are found. Right. So it's really, what we found is that being able to leverage Google as part of your restaurant model is key. So how do you do that? Well, there's two ways to be able to do that. Is, if you look today, our customers, what we found by analyzing the data is 96% of our restaurant customers look at reviews before they pick a restaurant. So they're going to look at reviews, and that's social media, that's social sharing's key. So, that 96% of people, if they're looking for restaurants, they're going to look for reviews. And, 87% of restaurant owners today say that more reviews increase their SEO ranking. So you have more reviews, you get up that SEO ranking, people just find you and they make the reservation. So, as I said, that relationship with the guest starts with the reservation. So today, by using customer engagement and reputation marketing tools like we have in Libro and tying them together, what ends up happening is you start as a restaurant, you start ranking up in search results. You start gaining new customers, and you have customer data to create better promotions and build business intelligence, that which we'll cover a bit later. So what's really good about that is, now you have all that data. How do you leverage that as a restaurant? Well, wouldn't it be great is, you could say, I'll give you this scenario today. What we've seen is, let's say it's been raining the whole weekend, as it does every day here in Montreal in the summer. And we finally see that on Friday, it's going to be nice. So, what if I was able to just go to my reservation system or my customer engagement system, which is part of the reservation system, and say, hey, show me all people that have made a reservation on the patio. And let's compile that information. Let's create a target. Let's send them an email or an SMS message saying, hey guys, why don't you come in? It's going to be a sunny Saturday. Make a reservation on our patio and get 2 for 1 on chicken wings, something as simple as that. Or be able to take that information, let's say on a day of the week where a restaurant's a little slow, because everybody knows your no shows and having empty seats kill a restaurant. But if you're able to sit within your guest management platform, like Libro, for example, and say, you know what, show me all people that made a reservation on a Monday between 4 and 7. Let's create that target. Let's just reach out to them and have them and fill those seats. That's how you're able to leverage, leverage that data. And the thing that's important about that is the expectation from the client. They're expecting that. They know when they click off that button that they're going to be marketed to. As long as you, as restaurateurs and anybody else, markets to them with, specific, relevant information, not just, just sending out spam. So what you want to do from a solution, when you have all that data, and I keep bringing up that 4 million people that we seat every month, is build the bond that encourages regular visits, repeat visits, and develops a marketing strategy to optimize menu items and increase reviews.
I love the real world example that you shared about patio, the great example of patio season, or if it's finally sunny, send out a promotion. And I also love the fact that you mentioned that the end user, the guests, are expecting this. I fully agree with that. They're expecting that high level of personalization. And if I go back to takeout earlier, if a restaurant, when you have your own direct online ordering platform, you know perfectly well the name, address, email address, phone numbers of all the customers that has ordered from you. And when a customer comes into your restaurant to pick up their food, you now have a golden opportunity to interact with them, or they will interact with your staff and see the entire restaurant atmosphere. And maybe down the road, they might book a table, reserve a table, just like Stu mentioned. This can actually create a more positive experience and increase the likelihood that they will return in the restaurant. If they drive up to your restaurant, they pick up your order, they have a good time, chances are they might come back to actually eat in your restaurant. But restaurants can actually leverage, going back to the question, restaurants can actually leverage the data for marketing purposes. So imagine if you're communicating with customers through an exclusive newsletter with promotions or announcing new menu items that are maybe available only for a limited time. That will significantly contribute to increasing loyalty and extending each customer lifetime value. But also keep in mind that when we talk about the third-party delivery apps, they have a specific goal. And these platforms are great because they can offer delivery for your restaurant, but at the same time, they keep that consumer going back to their own platform, not on your restaurant. So data can also be used to monitor the performance of, let's say, a restaurant's menu, guiding owners and managers on which items are more popular, which maybe have a high margin items should be increased, promoted. And at the same time, the data, the owner of Chili's in the United States said that data is the new bacon. And I couldn't agree more, because looking at monthly and yearly trends can assist restaurants in determine marketing initiatives that create better handle and inventory level and actually avoid unnecessary costs. And I'm gonna say overall, takeout by itself already is a high profitable revenue stream for restaurants, but online ordering is the easiest and fastest way to receive, manage takeout orders, and at the same time, build your long-term business strategy, because restaurants can utilize third-party delivery apps to acquire customers, but now they can add promotion offers inside, let's say, the delivery bag to encourage customers to order directly from their own website the next time. And through marketing initiatives like special takeout deals, takeout menu to trigger consumer fear of missing out, restaurants can actually have the perfect way to safeguard their margins.
I think that's key when we talk to our, some of our customers. In terms of increasing customer engagement, we just recently released our a customer engagement module, and it's being completely seamless to that guest. So typically, what ends up happening is, a diner make a reservation, and then from there, that contact information from the reservation is stored in the reservation management system, right? Readily available to the restaurateur. When the diner completes their meal, that integration kicks in, and it sends a message either through SMS or email saying, "Hey, we'd like a review." That review score is captured, brought back into the reservation system, and at that point, the diner makes a reservation a few months later. The host or hostess isn't going to know who that person is, but wouldn't it be great for that host or hostess to know that, for example, Daniel gave us a 4.5 stars the last time he ate with us? Or maybe Daniel only gave us a 3.2 stars because we know how Daniel is, and we could treat him a little bit better, right? And that's really where we see the value of bringing in the reservation and, adapting to meet the needs of the customer that's coming in.
All really good points. Super interesting. You think about where those reviews normally go, if not given the opportunity to be given to the restaurant, they go to people's friends, they go to people's families, or maybe somebody just sits there and ruminates on them for the rest of the night. So, it's important to get that real life or real time feedback, I'll say, and just capture it while it's fresh in people's minds, right? You want to make sure that they're still thinking about it in the truest sense of what actually happened there, and not I guess escalating it in their mind a little bit as time goes on. And that personalized experience is just so important. And one more thing, we'll move on, but really interesting to think about capturing those segments of your market that you may see as that Monday night diner. I remember when I was used to serve, that Monday night diner was often the most sophisticated diner, because they were the ones that wanted to go out for dinner on a Monday night and would continually do so. And I guarantee you they're going out on Monday night regardless. So why not try to get them back into your restaurant with some real life data and targeting them specifically? So we're talking about different technologies, we're talking about integration. So, how do you guys see technologies just working together to help to help restaurants, serve their customers? How are we bringing these together?
I think first things first, what we've seen is ever since the arrival of third-party delivery apps, each of these platforms, they all have their own tablet on your countertop. So oftentimes you might walk into a restaurant and that restaurant will have 3 tablets, all of these tablets ringing at different times with different orders. Then you have to check in each tablet, maybe punch back the order on your point of sale system. And let's say you're out of a menu item, you need to log into each of these tablets one by one. It is chaotic. I've seen it. So what is great now, more specifically with technology, is that tools are now available to aggregate all online sales channel. So if, let's say, your restaurant has Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes, and DoorDash, and your own online ordering platform, now you can link them all together to your point of sale system. So as soon as you get an order, that order will automatically be pushed to your kitchen. So removing one employee having to manually type in all the orders is already a great tool. And this allows you to have dedicated access to every single sales channel. Because remember, there's a lot of benefits of having these third-party delivery platforms, but there's also a huge benefit to having your own platform. But now both of them can be linked. But also more specifically in the hospitality industry, what we're seeing, especially in the last few years, there are within different tech companies, there are no longer any silos. Before, it used to be like the point of sale system was only working with their point of sale. The online system was different. The reservation system was different. But now what we're seeing is that there are no longer any silos in these companies.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% true. If you go back 10, 15 years, you had all these technologies that work by themselves, like RP said, silos, right? And then, let's go back 4 or 5 years ago, there's the communication between the systems, right? And now what we see today is, technology companies like UEAT and Libro working together to offer a single solution that addresses multiple challenges. We do that today with UEAT, something that's quite interesting. I'll give you an example that works really well that, could do a lot of things in terms of where restaurants are suffering. As restaurants today, one of the key things is, how do we make it really efficient for the restaurant? So let's say, for example, myself and Daniel were going to make a reservation at a restaurant. And I'm going to show this live. I'm going to go live because I love doing demos, and that's what I do. So, Daniel and I are going to go make a reservation at a great restaurant called Chez Stew. Everybody sees Chez Stew over here. So Chez Stew, this is a reservation. You see what a great logo we have. And, I want to make a reservation on the 20th at 9:30 p.m. When I do that, again, I want it to be really simple. So I don't want to have to log in and, give a username and password. I can log in with Facebook if I wanted to, make it really easy again for the customer. And then I'm going to hit next. Of course, I could say that I'm vegan, for example. There'll be some minors, so don't put me near a bar. And I'm going to hit reserve. Now, let's say, for example, I made that reservation, or there was no reservations available. I could always order with UEAT right from here. I could go to the Facebook page, keeping the guest within your ecosystem. Now, what's key about this is if we take a step further, let's say this reservation was for example, for 12 o'clock for me and Daniel tomorrow for lunch. At 11:30, wouldn't it be great if Daniel and I got an email or a text message that said, hey, I'd love, we see that you have a reservation. Why don't you join us and look at the lunch menu and order before you come? So imagine that. Right now, I'll be sitting at my desk before I get in there, and I'll get an email link that says, hey, you're coming for lunch in the next half hour. Why don't you just click on this link and be able to, have lunch and book your lunch? So if you notice over here, Chez Stew did send an email out to me confirming my reservation and asking both myself and Daniel to actually check the menu out. So you guys tell me if I go over here to Chez Stew, you'll notice there's that email that came in over here. Sorry, Google's not playing nice with me today. But I will go here and it'll ask me the question quite quickly.
Again, Stu, a real world example in this case, if Daniel and yourself, you're in a hurry, you only have like an hour for lunch. The way you pitched it is that you can book ahead, but you can also order ahead before you actually show up to the restaurant and even pay.
Well, that's just it. So if you notice over here, here's the email that came to me. It's saying, hey, why don't you save some time and order online? So I'm going to click on that. It's going to come up with my ordering solution. This is the UEAT ordering solution. It is in a demo environment. And it knows I'm in Quebec, so it automatically identifies that I should be in French. So today, it'll allow me to select, for example, the actual, it knows what table I'm at. I'll hit OK. And at this point, I could pick my entrees. I could pick edamame, for example. I could add that to my menu, and I could pay. So look at it from a customer experience point of view. I get that email. I come into the restaurant. I seat. My table is already set up for me. So if all the accoutrements are there for what I'm ordering, Daniel, but RP wasn't invited to this lunch.
Nope.
So Daniel comes, he sits down with me and has some lunch. We're catching up. What happens is when we checked in with the hostess, it fires the order out to that tells UEAT that we've now arrived, and UEAT fires the order off to the back of the house. We sit down within 10, 12 minutes. We're served our meal. We're eating. We've already prepaid. We get up and leave. From a customer experience point of view, I look like a VIP. I've walked in, the food came, I left. From a restaurant point of view, and this is what's used a lot of our customer, we have a really large customer here in Quebec using it in about 40 locations, is it allows the restaurant or the operator to turn over tables 10 to 12 minutes quicker during a lunch rush. They hire more runners than waiters and waitresses, so it kind of addresses the labor shortage issue. And as they grow and scale out and open more locations, they don't need as much square footage. They don't need that much anymore. And that's one of the greatest examples of how we tie this in, two solutions working together as a single solution to address multiple ideas. And we do that both RP and ourselves with UEAT and Libro. We are ways to maximize your cash flow, minimize no-shows and stuff like that. So that's really what I wanted to show you guys today.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and once again to our initial discussion and saying how this is something to complement your current labor pool, not replace it. It's not to say that you want this to all replace what your server is doing. You just want to make sure that that server's doing what they need to be doing, which is paying attention to the guest, which is being there when the guest wants them. Once again, I'll bring it back to my serving days because one of the best lessons I was ever taught, and when I managed restaurants too, I would always say it. I said, I don't care if you can, spend 5 minutes with the table or 5 seconds, greet them when they come there, spend that time to make sure that they know that somebody's there to be taking care of them. And giving that little bit of extra time for your servers to go and offer that personalized experience and actually know who that person is, why they're coming in, what they're ordering, I think just really enhances the guest experience overall. So really interesting stuff. Thanks, guys. Um, Bit of a recap. Stu, do you want to take this one?
Sure. So again, I think really in summary, is really allow don't be afraid of the technology. Working with companies that you could trust, allow you to leverage those online tools like Google, UEAT, and Libro. Optimize your Google profile. I'm a big proponent of that. Like I said earlier, the more you optimize that profile, the more you come up on those search terms, the more people find you. Turn on reservation and order online buttons for Google. Technology really, and leverage our technologies to help you collect customer data. That's the holy grail to restaurants, is getting that data and easily being able to use it, right? Engage with your customer, get them to give those reviews. And again, have companies work no longer in silos, but integrate, tech. Integrated tech is where the future is. RP, you have anything to add there?
Absolutely. So integrated tech is the future because, as we've discussed, the real world, even though I was not invited for dinner, it looked amazing. And based on the feedback that we've got, going back to Daniel, what he said earlier, customers are expecting this. But at the same time, you may be wondering, am I forcing my guests to use technology? But what you need to keep in mind is that you are giving your customers the choice. There are some customers, this is the best place for them, the best piece of technology. They're going to be blown away. This is exactly what they want. But for the others who might want maybe a traditional restaurant experience, well, you can still offer that. And as Daniel mentioned, it's all about the guest experience, because that's why when they leave, this is what they leave with. It's their entire experience that they get. And no more silos with company. This is a great example that we have right here.
Thanks so much for that, guys. So we do have a question that just popped up in the group chat from Chris of Brazen Hall, if I do believe. So he's just asking if guests can utilize the pay at the table option if they don't have a reservation.
Yes, they can. Absolutely. So if they do make a reservation, of course, it's going to speed up the entire process. But at the same time, if they show up in your restaurant, they can have a QR code, simply use their smartphone, they see the menu, order and pay, and the order will be pushed to your point of sale system in your kitchen automatically.
Thanks for that. I got an A-OK from Chris on the group chat, so that's great. Is there any other questions that have popped up? Also, keep in mind, we'll have our contact info going forward. So, we do hope that you reach out, but if you can't think of anything on the spot, is there anything else that people are curious about? Anything that we can maybe provide some clarity on at all? Going once, going twice. Okay.
Well, Daniel, actually, one thing I thought I would share, if
please.
that's okay, is, and again, maybe this is a shameless plug, is that, today, we have a deal specifically with the MRFA. If you guys go to the MRFA website, Libro has a deal with the Manitoba Restaurant and Food Service Association. You sign up there and you get 2 months free of Libro if you're a Manitoba Restaurant and Food Service Association member. So, with our solution today, we want to make it as easy for you to come in, try the solution out, the customer engagement, get those reviews out. Hey, worst case, you don't want to take reservations. You're able to collect information on your customers and be able to engage with them. So you guys could there's a link right from the MRFA website to this landing page, and you'll automatically get those 2 months free. That's my shameless plug, guys.
It's a sweet deal.
Yeah, appreciate that. And, it's, the reason that I joined up in this conversation and joined in talking with these two as well is just really seeing an opportunity for restaurants to maintain control of their data, of their customers, of their customer journey, of the way that they're operating, and just maintain that control. Because, I think one of the biggest concerns and going forward with a more, technology based future is, who's controlling what, and who's in control of our data, and the future of our customers too. So, increasingly restaurants, I think, need to focus on that. And I think these solutions really do provide an elegant solution to make sure that restaurants can further their profits, further their engagement with their customers, but also maintain control of everything as they go forward on this journey. So thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Daniel, Stu,
Thank you,
everybody.
Daniel.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Kim, thank you so much for getting this going.
Yeah, we're great.
Thank you guys so much for coming. I absolutely think that this is so fantastic. Like, the idea of being able to like go for lunch and order before going and having it ready. Like, I will look at a menu for hours and change my mind over and over again. So that to me is like so helpful when you only have an hour for lunch,
That is key. I went out to see RP probably about 5-6 months ago. I drove to Quebec City, and we went to have lunch. We hadn't seen each other in person probably for about 6-7 months. We only had about an hour and 15 minutes, and we didn't even touch the menu. We were talking for 20 minutes. So it happens. And we found, that order, reserve and order ahead. It works well in great demographics where you have busy lunch rushes, right? With, and a short menu.
Exactly. And it's just also, it opens up the opportunity for restaurants that aren't, traditionally considered as that power lunch kind of crowd to really open up their doors to more guest experiences there too. So I think there's some really great solutions.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, Kim, thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Okay.
Stay safe, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Bye,
day.
guys.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Guys.